Blood Rage, 1987.
Another oldie.
And summary here: as kids, Todd is institutionalized for a murder, whilst his twin goes free. 10 years later, on Thanksgiving, that's what it says. Todd escapes, and the killing spree begins in his neighborhood. Tagline: not all the evil is on Elm Street. Director John Grissmer, known for The Bride and Scalpel. Writer Bruce Rubin wrote the Scott Baio classic Zapped. So that's fun. What'd you guys think about this, huh?
This one was another Arrow video released on Blu-ray 2017.
Do you own this?
I don't know. I just said I'm gonna.
Oh, I was in.
Yeah, I'm gonna get it. This is also known as Nightmare at Shadow Woods. This is another one filmed in '83, not released till '87.
I think it was released in Europe or somewhere else. It didn't get an American release till '87.
You may be right. The effects artist, he's got several movies on his resume. His name is Ed French. He did Midnight Meat Train. He did some stuff on Supernatural. Jared, I know you've mentioned that a few times.
I like that show.
Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Hellraiser, Terminator, The Guardian, Tales from the Dark Side, Sleepaway Camp, Amityville 2, The Stuff, Creepshow 2. The effects in this movie, they're good. I mean, it's right up there with Savini's stuff, I think. I mean, just a few minutes into this movie, and one of the twins is taking a hatchet to someone's face. I don't know really for what reason, but I mean that's the way this movie starts off. And
yeah, I did laugh whenever he just hands his brother the knife and wipes blood on him, and he's just standing,
here, take it.
He's just standing there like, what? Yeah. I had a little bit of a problem with the audio mix on this movie. Like, it was all up and down. I'm like sitting there turning my I have headphones on, and it's like all over the place with the screams and stuff. But you have like a surround sound. So
yeah, nothing stood out to me.
Maybe it was just my situation. I don't know. But it seemed like that it also happened with the music, but that's more forgiving when it's.
I'm sure. I'm guessing that the Arrow took care of any problems with that probably. Too.
Yeah, I love the way it's shot. I love the soundtrack and everything that's happening in this movie. It's a really fucking good slasher that I can't believe I've never seen before.
It's not the best. It's not the best storyline.
A lot of holes.
This is one of the rare movies that takes place on Thanksgiving. So I know we mentioned before about does anything take place on Thanksgiving. This is one of them.
The thing that I guess is weird about the story is nobody's finding the bodies that are just fucking everywhere. The dude takes time to like hang out and watch TV, and it's just an apartment complex, right? Like,
yeah.
I just don't understand. And I love the fucking line. The fucking tagline for this movie should have been, "That's not cranberry sauce," because he says that shit like three or four times.
That's not cranberry sauce. Yeah, I wasn't enamored with this movie. Overall, I thought it was boring. There are some really great things in it, especially considering it should have been released in '83. I was really surprised by the effects. I thought the effects, comparing it to other movies I know from '83, especially in a slasher, like the lady split in half in the woods. Like I can't think of any other slashers I've seen stuff like that in. I mean, full in half, guts hanging out all over. Looks good. A lot of the effects and the kill scenes in this are good. I thought the main actor who did Terry and Todd, he plays twins. I thought he did, especially for an 80s slasher, he did a pretty good job of acting as two different people.
Some of the acting is bad in this, but I'll touch on another highlight as far as the acting. I think the mom, I think she did a great. She's
in
crazy.
She was Woody Allen's wife.
I had she schlocked it up terribly. And
really? No, I thought she was great. Like I thought she pulled off crazy very well.
But the guy that played Terry and Todd, though, if you would have told me they cast twins, two different people playing the role, I'd have believed it.
Oh yeah, me
Like
too.
he does for a slasher 80s slasher movie. He does a really good, convincing job of being two different people. They did a good job on that. My problem with it is overall, I thought the movie was boring. Like the spots in between the kill scenes, it felt like a slog to me. The idea and the story was good, but I don't know that they executed it well, especially when they let you know one brother framed the other brother right from the beginning. Like I think you could have made it a lot better movie if you left it thinking that the one that got framed was the killer, and then as the movie unfolds you find out that the one brother framed the other one. But it was
the story's not great.
I
think you run into that a lot. It's an 80s slasher. It has great kills, great effects. The music was good.
I had written down that this is either the best of the slashers that are fine if you skip, it's the top of the line, or the very bottom of the slashers you should watch. I get
what you're saying.
If you're really into slashers,
if you're a fan of 80s slashers, watch this.
It's worth watching. If you're really into it. If you just dig 80s slashers but don't want to go whole, you're all right. Skip.
I'd slide it in my top 5 slashers. Honestly, it's one I never knew about.
We talked about that second tier of slashers, and I think I would put that. I would put that somewhere between 11 and 20.
Yeah, I wouldn't put it that high.
I think
if you wanted to go over the big chunk of slashers that if you want to get into the genre and watch, maybe. Like I said, it's either the absolute last one of the second tier.
Yeah, people can decide.
Or the best one.
I think us saying that if you like 80 slashers, watch it.
I think that my favorite scene in the movie is one of the worst acted scenes. It's when Terry's girlfriend, whatever the fuck her name is, she comes out of the closet because there's a body in there, and Terry's sitting there and making this dead dude clap and like laughing, and she's just like, "Why are you doing this?" And it's like he fucking fucked up her car or something.
And the end I thought was a little way.
There was a lot of blocking issues with that, where they were trying, they got a stuntman in there. Bad wigs are happening all over the place.
I guess I just meant the very end where
the suicide part?
Yeah, the mom shoots herself because she's still acting like the one brother was the good one, and she calls Todd Terry or Terry Todd, whichever one it is, and he bangs his head against the wall saying, "I'm whichever one he actually is," and then the mom shoots herself. I
gave it bonus points for that. Actually, I was at a 7, but the suicide brought me up to a 9. So what'd you guys give it? Anybody else give a score?
It's not a perfect movie, like we've said. The story is, it's a bloody 80s slasher. You know what to expect. You know how this goes. Has good music, great effects. I'll be picking this up. I'll be picking up the Arrow release as soon as I can. But I loved it. I gave it a 7.
I gave it a 5. There are bright spots. And I was always surprised with how bloody it was that I never heard about this one before. And I think if it would have been released in 83, this one would be a bit more of a cult classic because of the blood and the effects. Not coming out till 87, you started seeing more. So I gave it a 5, but just because the movie kind of bored me. But there are plenty of bright spots that if you're into that kind of stuff, I don't think you're going to regret watching. I didn't walk away being like, "Oh, that son of a bitch picked that movie." It wasn't Microwave Massacre. I was upset I had to watch that by the end of it.
Shit. Anyways.
So that's that.
Let's